The first requirement is that you must be engaged. So for us, we weren't actually technically engaged yet, but we had bought the ring, we had the receipt of the ring, and we had the intent to marry. But they do like to see that you are either already engaged or kind of in the process of being engaged. So whether that's like a ring or just a letter to declare that you are intending to marry will work for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really helpful if you are engaged, but it's not the end of the world if you're not.
Requirement number 2 is that you must be a United States citizen. Sadly, a green card holder doesn't count. You must be able to prove that you're a United States citizen, whether that's through a birth certificate, passport, any of those kind of things. You will have to include those in your packet. But even though a green card holder cannot do a K-1 visa, they can do a CR-1 visa. The only downside is that that process can take up to 2 years or longer, but it is possible.
Requirement number 3 is that you both need to be legally free to marry. So what this means basically is that you both aren't, either both or one of you isn't currently married, and if you are divorced, you should have proof from your government, whether that's a divorce decree or whatever it is that the country that you're coming from provides, to prove that both of you are actually legally free to marry. So that's both the beneficiary as well as the petitioner need to legally be free to be married.
Yeah, and the same goes with a death certificate. If you've been married before and your spouse has passed away, I believe that they also need the death certificate to prove that you are legally free to marry. Requirement number 4 is that you intend to get married within 90 days of your beneficiary's arrival into the U.S. So first you have to convince the USCIS officer that you have a bona fide relationship, meaning that it's genuine and that you genuinely want to get married for the right reasons. Number 2 is that you have to get married within 90 days. So to prove that, what we did is that we wrote a letter of intent. We both signed it, and it was just kind of our promise to the officer that we will get married within 90 days of his arrival.
And we did.
Requirement number 5 is that you have to have physically met within 2 years of you applying for the K-1 visa. So for us, we had known each other for almost 6 years, but we hadn't seen each other for 4 or 5 of those years.
Yeah.
So by the time that we actually submitted our packet, we had seen each other 2 different times. So we had pictures to document those times, we had dates, we had pictures of him with my family, with my friends. There was pictures of me with his family and his friends. And so that is one of the requirements, is that within the last 2 years you have seen each other and you can kind of put forth that you have a genuine relationship.
Number 6 is that the petitioner must meet the minimum income requirement. So basically what this means is that your spouse or future spouse must be able to afford you being here. If they don't meet the financial requirement, there are other alternatives that they can use. Number 1 is that they can use assets they may have, which is either real estate or stocks. The other option is if they use a joint sponsor.
Yeah, so for us, we did use a joint sponsor because at the time that we filed for our K-1 visa, I was still in college and wasn't able to financially support the both of us. So we brought my dad on board, let him know exactly what he was signing on for, and then was able to use his income as another method of proving that we did have enough money to allow him in and that we would be able to financially support him.
Keep in mind, guys, that this is one of the main reasons that K-1 visas get rejected, is that the petitioner is unable to support their incoming spouse. So make sure you find a way to make that happen.
I know this may seem like a lot, but really we tried to simplify it and make it easier for you by breaking it into 6 simple requirements. So you can write them down, we'll list them here, but make sure you just check those off to make sure that you really are eligible to apply for a K-1 visa.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's anything that you have further questions on the 6 requirements that we've posted, please feel free to comment in the section below and we will respond to any of the comments in the section.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.